Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Colleen, and gosh, if this is the first time you are joining me, you are so welcome. I'm going to share quite a quick video with you today, simply because I find one of the biggest challenges facing us when we're wanting to create is not always having what we think we need. And by that I mean sometimes we think we need collage papers and this, that and the next thing. We don't have the funds to necessarily go out and buy it, but we do have some materials at home to be able to make them. And so today's exercise is to show you how to make some collage papers using some of the things which you possibly might have already or could quite quickly create. So I'm going to be using some white tissue paper. These are really large sheets. This is folded in half lengthways, so you can see it's about the size of a wrapping paper. And you can get these on Amazon quite inexpensively. I think I got about 50 sheets for about £5, I think, if I remember correctly. I'll try and find the link. Anyway, and then I have some stamps. So I've used some of these. Let me show you this way around. It's easier because it's not so much reflection. This I did this pattern with. And then I haven't got the bird one out with me right now, nor the watercolors. I haven't got those ones out, but I do have them. I just took the whole sheet of stamps and stamped them. Then I've got this one here, which is just circles and numbers and things. Rather nice because it just gives you an all-over pattern, and even where it hasn't printed 100%, I'm not unhappy with that. Then I've got these sort of vignettes of floral images on stamps. Sorry, I've just got two sticking together here, which are those, and I just stamped those individually. These ones I did mount on a stamping block to be able to do that. I had another one which didn't seem to want to print as easily, but that might just be because it was new, but nevertheless I would still be able to use that. And I'm not worried that some of them are lighter images than darker, because sometimes when you are collaging it doesn't make any difference. Then I've got a lovely set of postage stamps with birds, and that was quite fun to do, and those I could use just as pieces or I could use individually. And then this one here is just a set which has a whole lot of numbers and kind of labely things on them. I did some others as well just to see how I would go with the collaging. I had some with botanicals on them and I stamped them. As one or two of the stamps didn't come out that well, like this one here, but again it doesn't really matter when you're collaging. You can tear out pieces, and you'll see here that I've actually overlapped some of the stems. This one I used with almost dry ink because I thought I'd have quite a nice sort of subtle effect, so I inked up my stamp, stamped it onto a piece of paper first, and then came onto the tissue, and I quite like that as just a gentle background. I had a sheet of other botanicals which had just rows of these lovely flowers which I stamped as borders, so I could use them as a border or tear them up individually. And obviously if you wanted to use them separately, you could stamp each stamp individually. And then I had another stamp which had all of these sort of invoices and dockets. So what I've done to begin with is I've taken two sheets of my tissue paper, the plain one, and I have torn them into quarters. So I've got a smaller surface to work on because otherwise it becomes rather unwieldy. What you will see when you start to work with these, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it easily on camera, is that there's a slightly waxy, shiny surface on one side, and the other side is definitely more matte. Now that may or may not translate onto the camera, but I hope you can see it. I'm going to be stamping on the matte side because that's where the images will take the best and be absorbed into the paper more easily. So let me just take everything but one away. And then I will be using the archival acid-free and waterproof ink from Ranger and Jet Black, simply because that's going to print nicely. So I'm going to start off first with the one that has a lot of numbers, which I think was my second one that I did. Yep, that one. and I'm going to leave it flat on my piece of card, and I'm simply going with my ink pad over the whole stamp. Sorry, might have been out of frame there. So I'm just going to ink this up as best I can, and then I'm going to carefully take this, oopsie, and I'm going to position it over the area I'd like to stamp, which is over here, and then I'm going to use the flat of my hand to rub over the whole surface so that I can make sure that each of these little individual raised surfaces, which are the stamp part, are in contact. And then I'm going to gently peel back the image. That's rather nice. So I'm going to keep repeating this until I've done this several times, but as I work I'm going to try and not orientate the stamp in the same direction. So that means I'm not going to put them plop 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 all in a row there. I'm going to just take them and move them around. So let's do this one this way. And in this way you don't get what looks like a repeat pattern forming, but rather more like a collage pattern. And now I'm going to ink up again. And this one I will take and I'll do it this way around, and I'll take it from the inside here. Okay. And then if your surface gets quite big and busy like this, don't be ashamed, or not ashamed, don't be afraid of trying to just turn it around a little bit to make it easier for you. It's really tongue-tied today. We've had the most dreadful wind, and I don't know why, but it really is very awful, and it's one of those winds that, I don't know, it's upset me a bit, just because it's so strong and everything's blustering and blowing. So you'll see that some of that section hasn't gone onto tissue at all. So I'm going to come back with that over this section, knowing that some of this won't print out very dark, but that's okay. It's fine. Now I'm going to ink up again. And I'm going to change the orientation once more. So I think I'll do, I've got a long one there. I'll flip this over this way. That's it. And you can just keep repeating this. I mean, obviously this can be as random as you choose or as formal as you choose. So you could do something that is very, very structured, or you could just have fun and play as I'm doing. My big sort of thing is your decision will be based on whether you're going to use this as a whole sheet of paper or whether you're going to tear it up for collaging. So I just need a strip to go down this edge, and I'm taking all these little numbers and things on this side over here. I'm going to use those in this section. And then I'm going to rotate my paper because I've got a couple of patches here. I'm going to use these numbers on this side to fill that gap. And we'll slide it in this way. I've got a 6 there, so I'm going to turn it over so that I've got a 6 on the opposite side. And then I've just got one little gap in the middle here. And I think possibly this little corner that doesn't have any very definite stuff will be the one to use. So I'm just going to take that corner, I'm going to carefully place it on the edge here and just roll it down as much as I need it. There we go. We have a nice piece of printed tissue, and you just want that to dry completely, being waterproof. Now when you go in with your gesso or your glues, whatever you're going to be using, it's not going to cause the paper to bleed, the inks won't run, and you'll find that you actually get nice results. I'll do another one, but I'm not going to talk, so I can speed it up a little bit so that you can just see what a second one looks like. Well, there you have it, a whole variety of beautiful papers that you can use for collage in your mixed media projects, or simply just to wrap a present. They're a little bit different, they're a little bit quirky, very individual. You can obviously go in here and color them with your distress inks, or with some pencil crowns, with a bit of watercolor. I would suggest, if you're going to work with any of the wet inks, that you actually glue them onto a surface first. But what a lovely array of things that you can have very, very inexpensively at home, and they're quick and easy to do. So please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and I've really appreciated you being with me this afternoon. Thank you. Bye for now.